Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello. Thank you for joining. Let's wait for a couple of minutes to get the audience be online with us. And while we are waiting, we just have a small talk, so you can share in the chat from where are you joining, what time is it for you, and on a scale from 1 to 5, how confident you are with AI. Please share your answers in chat.
One means, what is AI? And 5 is, I'm iRobot.
Yeah.
Last month, we had an internal DXC webinar with an expert who has more than 20 years or even more experience with AI. And he was one of the guys who actually started development of AI. So he would be 5, definitely. He would have 5 score.
From Ukraine, the same as we are. Okay, hello, colleagues. I see some also joining. Hello. So you see on the screen 3 small questions, just a small introduction between us, from where are you joining, what time is it for you, and how confident you feel you as a user with AI. When 1 is very low confidence and 5 is a professional AI developer. You can write your answers in chat, and we will start shortly.
Good evening, Zohel.
Hi, Ron. Good evening. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Okay.
Good evening.
From Germany, I see, and level 4. So pretty confident.
Wow.
Okay, that's great. I propose to start. Yeah. So hello again. Welcome to today's webinar. And our topic is the future of ASPICE, AI-driven innovation across the V model. Before we start, I would like to ask you to follow some rules. So you have the option to unmute yourself, but please stay muted during the webinar until the Q&A session starts. If you decide to unmute yourself for the Q&A session, be advised that this session is being recorded. We will have a Q&A session at the end, and we will be happy to answer your questions. You can put the questions also into the chat as well during our conversation, and we will collect them and then try to answer in our Q&A session. For the Q&A session, please raise your hand and we will call you so that you can ask your question, or basically, again, you can unmute yourself and raise your question. Thank you very much. And now, before we begin, I'd like to ask you something. Did you notice anything unusual in the LinkedIn post today's webinar? If you remember how you got to this webinar and this LinkedIn post, so please share your thoughts in the chat. If Lena, you have it, maybe you can present one more time to our participants.
This is a little
Here
bit
it is.
embarrassing.
Yeah, this one, yeah. Is there anything unusual? Have you spotted anything? We have new participants from Brazil. Good. So, no, to make a long story short, yeah, everybody is shy. So here is an AI-generated text, and AI forgot to replace the placeholder. So you can see Olena Nachname, who is the guest actual surname. So this is a perfect reminder that even the simplest AI-generated results still require human verification.
Don't you know the famous Olena Nachname?
Yes, yes, here she is. So today our speakers will start with an overview of different AI use cases along the V model. Then we will take a closer look at how AI can support the SPICE assessments. After that, Olena will share insights on the current use of AI in automotive projects. And if there is enough time, Ron and Olena will run a live experiment. We will then move to our Q&A session, as I promised, and finally we will briefly introduce the topic of our next webinar. So let's start with a short introduction from our side. My name is Olga, and I've been with the automotive industry for over 5 years, working primarily as a certified Scrum Master and Configuration Manager. In addition to my Scrum Master responsibilities, I've also actively contributed to several ASPICE assessments, specifically for Sub-8 process, where I played a key role in achieving ASPICE Level 2 certification. So I'm excited to have a great discussion today. And let me introduce our guests. So our guest today is Olena Lizina, an automotive software professional whose career has evolved through several key roles. Her journey through engineering, leadership, product ownership, project management allows her to bridge technical and organizational perspectives, making her contribution to ASPICE discussions deeply practical and experience-based.
Thank you very much, Olga, for a lovely introduction. I'm happy to be here and looking forward to contributing to our today's discussion.
Thank you, Lena. And Ronald Melster, or simply Ron, in the automotive world, is a principal ASPICE Assessor and VDA 6.3 auditor who builds the bridge between development and production. With a background in computer science from Berlin and Edinburgh, he moved early from pure coding to software engineering processes, requirements, modular architectures, and process optimizations. Since the early 2000s, he has worked in the automotive industry and as one of Europe's longest service ASPICE assessor since 2005. Focuses on assessments that empower teams and explain the why behind processes. He has supported organizations like Porsche, Carmack, Nippon Seiki, Audio, Porsche, and HERE, and led a Bosch development division with 7,000 engineers worldwide to ASPICE capability level 3. This is fantastic. And as the author of 3 hands-on ASPICE books, Ron acts not just as an assessor, but he is a mentor, coach, sparring partner who helps teams not only to comply with ASPICE, but truly embrace it.
Thank you very much for the warm introduction and welcome from my side as well.
So let's start our discussion from AI use cases along the V model. Ron, over to you.
Yes. So we start actually with the requirements generation. And one use case can be to generate requirements on different levels. You can generate system requirements based on the stakeholder expectation inputs, as it is put here. And you can generate software requirements from the system requirements, and you can generate even hardware requirements based on the system requirements. One hint, it is very useful to configure the AI by telling it, okay, these are the templates we use for our requirements, so some kind of conventions. And this can help you to ensure the traceability. If the AI generates the requirements, then of course it can trace the requirements which it has generated, and it can make sure that the requirements are verifiable, again, by providing some structure to the AI while generating the requirements. So the next use case is actually the other way around. And this is a kind of pattern which we will see. AI can generate something new, requirements, architecture, source code, or it can check the existing artifacts for consistency. In this case, it can help us to check the requirements for consistency. Again, the question is, what do we compare here? If we compare the software requirements with the system requirements, it can check if the software requirements have covered all the system requirements, for example. Or it can check for consistency within one document. So if software requirements contradict other software requirements. So it relates to the topic which we had in the last webinar, where we talked about traceability and consistency. The internal consistency within one requirements document, software requirements, for example, can be checked by AI. And AI can help us to guide to what I call smells. There's something wrong. The final decision is with a human being still. That's at least my expectation. And then AI can also check for the traceability. It can generate the coverage dashboard and again guide us to gaps. Okay, here is something missing between the requirements level and on the right hand side the inconsistencies which are detected by the AI will be presented to a human, and the human will decide, is this a false positive or is it a really inconsistency which needs to be corrected?
Ron, I would like to complement what you have said, especially about the previous slide, that AI can generate requirements. So as of now, AI can be a good support for requirements engineer, but there are no tools that can do it for you, just one button click. And today, before the webinar, I asked AI which input you would like to receive from me so that you can generate complete, consistent, valid automotive requirements for system level, for software level, and for hardware level. And AI replied, I used ChatGPT 5 version, so it replied me that for system level requirements, for example, they want me to provide them system architecture overview, like boundaries, major components, and interfaces.
Okay, I can follow so much.
Yeah.
You need the interfaces, the external interfaces of the system, and then the AI can generate requirements. Okay, if this input is given to the system, then this output will be produced by the system. Makes sense, okay?
Yep. Then AI asking for use cases, user scenarios, what driver or vehicle should do.
Okay.
Sounds valid. Then also AI asks for environmental and functional constraints, for regulations and standards, for high-level functionality and performance expectations,
Okay.
for HARA outcomes, ASIL level requirements where it is relevant, ASIL levels, yeah, and system level KPIs, latency, reliability, availability, and accuracy. Without these inputs, AI said, it will not generate valid system requirements. And it provided the same list for each level, software and hardware. And then In addition to that, AI requests OEM-specific glossary and terminology, templates and requirements patterns used in the organization, constraints and assumptions defined by system engineers, known issues or legacy constraints from previous project phases, traceability information, for each level of requirements for system, it would be to customer requirements, software and hardware, and so on. And then also AI reminded me, if project does not provide all the comprehensive list of inputs requested, AI will generate generic, not automotive-specific requirements. It will hallucinate for missing constraints. Requirements may violate safety, timing, or regulatory constraints, and AI will create output with low ASPICE compliance.
Okay, what does this mean if the AI creates requirements which are not ASPICE compliant?
Who knows? Maybe they would not be consistent, or I don't know.
Okay, there are, which we discussed in the last webinar, there are requirements for requirements. They need to be verifiable, they need to be understandable, they need to be consistent, etc. So these expectations towards requirements can be violated. It's not an ASPICE compliant issue. In the narrow sense, you will be downrated on a base practice, but I think I understand the idea. Shall we move on to the architecture? Yes. So in general, based on the requirements, I think it's possible, I've not seen it yet, the AI can help to generate blocks. Okay, what are the architectural elements which are needed in order to implement the requirements? By generating these blocks, AI can use patterns, or I think you called it blueprints yesterday, Olena, which I like. Patterns are blueprints. So it will follow paths and solutions which have been around for decades or years, let's say. And it can also generate the interfaces. So if the blocks are known and the outside interfaces are known, then the AI can help us to connect the components and then generate interfaces which are needed in order to implement the requirements. And it can help us to allocate the requirements to the architecture elements, which is quite a tedious task sometimes. And it can help us to generate component requirements. What do we mean by this? First of all, the purpose of a component can be defined, and then it can define the behavior requirements. What is the intention of this component? What shall the component generate based on the input as output on the interfaces? And I think the last one, behavior prediction, weak point analysis, always some kind of check. It's here on this slide. If you have a given architecture, the AI can check for weak points, either for cybersecurity weak points, vulnerabilities, or some bottlenecks of interfaces, and so it can help us to identify the weak points. And it can also validate again against proven use cases, proven patterns. It can check for consistency, for factory patterns, visitor patterns, etc. on the software side. So yet there are some use cases on architecture as well.
Again, I would not be too optimistic about
Okay.
AI generating architecture.
Why?
I also asked AI before our meeting, what input do you need? And it requires a lot.
Okay.
And then I also discussed with AI which potential use cases it can do for us, where it would be efficient and effective. If you go to previous slide. So in addition to everything you described, AI also offered that it would work better as a suggestion, as a mechanism that can help in brainstorming.
Okay.
So it offered such use cases like break down high-level system functionalities into components, sub-functions, or modules. So for example, I ask, give me hints about lane detection for ADAS camera, and it will produce me some suggestions like, okay, it could be image acquisition, then pre-processing, then edge detection, then lane modeling, estimation, and so on and so forth. And then AI can propose design alternatives with pros and cons. It can help on early stages for human to make decisions. And then AI can recommend based on the data flow and component responsibilities, it can recommend input-output signals, some timing requirements, communication protocols, some more specific things. And last, I see as the most useful case right now, which I see AI can help right now with current capabilities. So it can translate your textual input into visuals, like you give it a description with human words and names of methods, and it can generate your architecture diagrams, some sequence diagrams, block diagrams, data flow diagrams, and state diagrams. So in this use case, I see the most potential right now, more like suggestions and advisor rather than replace architect who will make final decisions.
Okay. Does this mean we describe the states, the potential states of a system as a text, and the AI will generate the visualization based on the text, and then we can start correcting and okay, I like that.
Yep. Okay, let's go to the next.
Yes. Okay. The first one is actually a special one. If you have an existing source code, which happens from time to time, then AI can analyze the source code and generate a detailed design. So it's actually kind of reverse engineering. And the rest, component-based design, based on the software components, break it down to units and describe the desired behavior of the units is very similar to the architecture. But the first use case is actually reverse engineering, and I think that's possible.
But wait a minute, isn't it forbidden by ASPICE? You should first draw the detailed design and then start coding.
Yes, of course. As it is defined in ASPICE, first the detailed design and then the first line of code. There are actually assessors around which promotes this mindset, but I don't, first of all. And ASPICE is not saying anything about the order. First the detailed design and then the source code. In the end, you have to have both. The detailed design and the source code, and it must be consistent. There's no order prescribed in ASPICE what you have to do first. And I once had a customer, they had exactly this situation. They had an existing source code and no detailed design whatsoever. And they asked me, Ron, what shall we do? Well, we have to create a detailed design because we need it. But we don't know how to do this. Why? Then go and ask the developers. And they told me The developers were retired or dead or both. So there are some use cases, but they wanted to continue to use this piece of software. I think it was communication stack, and they had new requirements regarding this component. So they needed the detailed design in order to move ahead. And I think they wanted to move it to another platform. So they needed the detailed design, and they did very extensive reverse engineering. This was 10 years ago. Now we have the support of AI eventually.
Now it's clear, a very rare use case, but still good to know that there are options.
And again, on the checking side, okay, with an existing detailed design, then the AI can check for traceability, coverage, can validate or is this unit actually correctly allocated to the component? Does it fit to the purpose? It can check the interfaces between the units, so it's very similar to the architecture checks on the detailed design. But I have not seen this one yet. So it's in theory, it's a use case, and let's see when we will see this in practice actually. And here's my favorite one, to generate source code. One thing I've not mentioned yet, if you put these use cases into a chain. So starting from the stakeholder expectations, system requirements, software requirements, everything is generated by AI. So the AI will generate the software requirements, and the AI will check the generated software requirements for consistency. I don't think this will work. So I'm assuming here's something that the detailed design is actually written by a human being. And then the AI is asked to generate the respective source code. And something which is very important, the AI must be guided by coding guidelines, MISRA guidelines. So we must tell the AI what we expect from the AI when generating source code. And of course, traceability is established. This is something many projects struggle with, the traceability from the units to the software requirements. And AI can help with that. And what's your experience with source code generation, Olena?
In general, I'm very skeptical about that, and I can tell you why. So I tried myself to write some pieces of code with AI, and for me it worked really weird. Like I cannot write a simple script with AI because it always removing something, forgetting something. And recently I had a meeting with our developer. He was working on some application for himself, like something pet project, let's say. And he was wanting AI to generate source code for it. So he was working on a prompt, and he told me that up to 15th version of the prompt model was learning and trying to generate something working, but still it didn't work. Then finally he got some version that was buildable, and he was able to run it. And then further, with every new iteration, he was trying to improve it. It was working for some few more prompts, and then it stopped and started glitching. Working code was broken. AI removed some big piece of functionality completely for no reason. It started, produce something really messy. So there is some buffer for prompts, for context after reaching
Okay,
which
okay.
it started to glitch. And he tried different models. He tried Cloudy, Copilot, and ChatGPT, something web version, and it does not work well. So
Okay. So it's not only me. I have the very similar experience. I re-implemented the pipeline which delivers my books. So if there's a new order, the software looks up the order and puts in the watermark into the PDF and delivers the book. And I used AI for this as well. And I had a very similar experience at the beginning. Everything was looking fine. And then I was asking the AI to refactor, and it didn't work at all. It removed something which was needed, and it forgot about some helper functions which were there. Why don't you use this function? It's available there. Oh yes, that's a good hint. Thank you very much. You should know, I just uploaded the entire source code again. So it's not only me. And I was wondering, am I using the wrong model? Is my prompting so bad? Am I not clear enough what I want and how I want it? So okay, that's good to hear.
yeah, there are definitely some more advanced model that may do it much better, but
okay.
for regular people like we who
Like
has
us.
Copilot or ChatGPT, it's still something too far to be truth.
That's an important takeaway. It must be configured in the correct way. It must be guided. Maybe there are special models which are trained in a specific
Yeah.
context. The normal models, they start glitching quite
Yep.
fast. Okay, let's continue. Source code check. Again, on the checking side with existing source code. So we will see, in addition to the static code check, that AI will check the source code for against coding guidelines. That's possible. Again, the traceability, is it complete? Is it valid? Consistency, again, between two artifacts, in this case, the detailed design, which defines something, and is the source code actually following the detailed design. And last one, source code against software requirements. This is what I mentioned earlier. Many projects struggle with that. It can either create it and or check if the units are correctly allocated to the software requirements. And I think that's one of the most common use cases at the moment to generate test cases based on the software requirements. It's the most straightforward. You have if you have well-written requirements, you can generate the test cases and use the methods which are available for test case generation and maybe even implementation. Execution, okay. So it can take the results, analyze the results, the huge logs which are sometimes generated, and point out again, here are some errors or strange behaviors, and report about the coverage of either the code or the requirements.
And here I would like to share my experience with automated test generation. So as of now, there is no tool that can do it for you easy peasy. And recently we were evaluating one tool which can generate based on the requirements test steps like manual textual description of test steps. And it took us several iterations to tune the model so it generates more proper results, because the first iteration we gave it 45 requirements, just random requirements from the internet, and it produced 2,500 of test cases, something incredible. Yeah, and then we worked and tuned until we got some meaningful number, like 150, something like this.
Okay.
And then the companies that produce this tool, they declare that they can automate it to language you need. We didn't have time and chance to test how it automate, because in our project, it would take too much context about the pipeline specific, about our keywords we're using and so on. So we didn't have the chance to check, but I suspect it wouldn't be that easy as well. And I have another experience with unit tests. There was an internal project in our company. Guys created a tool that a model that can generate unit tests based on the source code. And they measured on their project, it brought them maybe 30% improvements of their KPIs, like 30% faster, because still after you generated the test cases, human needs to check every single test, whether it's valid or not. And they offered me, would you like to try with your project? I chose some of the past smaller projects, like 200 files. And during the discussion, we estimated that efforts to train the model for such a small project would take more than my developers would write test cases themselves. Maybe not right from the scratch, because I already had some coverage, like 60% maybe, and to write this delta to what 100, it would take almost the same amount of time rather than generate them with AI, and it will require much effort to teach AI about our project specific, about all the context it needs. So for smaller projects, it may be also not very appropriate.
Okay, shall we continue? We have some more use cases.
Yeah.
Again, the test cases can be checked if the methods were applied correctly. This is what we do in assessments, sometimes randomly. If the test cases are consistent with the interfaces, this is something many projects struggle with, interface test cases, etc. And the last one, 5 log and reports checks. Again, I told you about before, it can go through the huge number of logs and check for any inconsistencies. So again, if there are test cases available, AI can help us to analyze if the test cases were created consistently, if they cover all the requirements, etc. And something we have not, you want to add something? Olena? No.
No. Okay. I wanted you to not forget about question. We have a question to the audience.
Yes. What are your experiences with AI-generated test cases?
Do you know some tools maybe that are available already on the market?
Have you generated test cases already successfully? Any one of you? Timur, maybe.
Okay, maybe colleagues may add their ideas in the chat.
You can, yes, we will.
Yeah.
Sorry, so there was a question.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, like a few months ago, we had a meeting with one startup from United Kingdom that mentioned that they have created a system that allows to perform several activities in a SPICE model, starting from working with requirements and finishing with creating test cases for those requirements and even automating using of those test cases in some environment. So they said that their successful deployment of the system was for some companies that used robots for some production, and they automated some process of testing their system, and those robots also like automated some behavior in this testing environment. But it was just from their words, so we never experience that. I currently don't remember the name. I can try to find in my emails and I can share if interesting.
Yes, please. There are claims on LinkedIn you can generate an entire system, others based on one keyword. I have sincere doubt with that, because what can the AI actually generate? Only the patterns it knows already. So there will be no innovation whatsoever. And it cannot take the decisions, the architecture decisions, and it can ask for it. It can support us, but what you describe, throughout the entire V model, requirements to test cases and the source code, I have not seen this, and I think we might not see this in the near future.
If you allow me to add here, one of the tools that we evaluated recently in our company, it's also a startup, Germany-based. And when we approached to let's deploy it on our premises and we can try it, it turned out that the computer hardware required for this model to operate efficiently would cost us approximately 55,000-60,000 euro. A single computer. So it's still not very efficient for large scale. I can't imagine I will come to my customer and say, hey, we can generate requirements for you. You need to purchase 60,000 euro computers for our requirements managers.
And
this tool uses Gemini model, some large model, and it requires really huge GPU, very costly.
And then you will save 10% or 5% of your working time. Okay. And if I think my impression is, if you want to be accurate, you need these large models, and then you need the high performance computers. Unfortunately, it's like this. Let's Timo write some more AI use cases. Translation from other languages. We have not talked about one use case yet. I'm deviating from our slides a little bit, but let's discuss this. Analyzing the stakeholder expectations. This would be, you get Lastenheft in German and you don't understand what it is. So yes, you could use AI to understand the meaning of the requirements in other languages. And of course, we have not talked about documents and deltas and etc. Yes, I think we might. We teased the live experiment where we generated a document, not check a document, but generate a document. I think we consider the configuration management plan, but due to time, we will do this in the next webinar. So you have to come back.
Yeah. Okay, Ron, let's proceed.
Yes.
We have a few more use cases.
Yes. Which is related to not the development processes, but the non-engineering processes, change management. For this one, AI can help us to find dependencies between use cases, duplicates, and of course also generate the report for the trend analysis, both for SOP 9, problem resolution management, and sub 10 change request management. Yeah.
Okay. And as of AI support in managerial processes here, I have a few examples to share what we have in our internal POCs. So we were lucky that we have enthusiastic engineer in our team who in his free time implemented a few nice tools for managers in our team, in our project. And now we are happy owners of automated backlog generation tool. It requests from you requirements. In some form, system requirements would be better. and then it would break down them into user stories and to detailed tasks, and will provide all the descriptions. You can give it a template of your user story, of your tasks naming convention, and it will generate you the whole backlog. And then it can create actually them in Jira. It has integration with Jira. So this is one of the use cases. Also, AI can be helpful in effort estimation and capacity prediction. So it can use historical data in Jira to effectively analyze and find typical effort for similar tasks and predict load and suggest realistic milestones. This is something still in theory we didn't try. Then automatic project status summaries, so different reports, collecting information from Jira, Confluence, commits, test reports. It can generate different summaries. For now, I am doing it only with Python scripts, but in future, we may migrate them to AI, and I expect they would be more enhancing and more interesting. Then something for problem resolution management. AI can analyze defect patterns, recurring root causes, regression trends, and propose likely root causes, preventive actions, and so on. And our engineer created for us a tool that we're using already for several months. It finds duplicates for defects. As soon as some defect assigned to a developer, the tool can find a duplicate among other tickets and sends a report. Hey, take a look, maybe it's something similar, and it will help you to speed up with your analysis. And then also AI can support with process documentation generation based on the corporate organizational templates and provided context. AI can generate process documentation. And today we wanted to show a live demonstration how AI generate CMP, but unfortunately due to time limitation, we will do it next time and we will review it online.
Yes, I will give live feedback to what the AI generates, if it's compliant with ASPICE. Yes.
Yeah.
So this we do next time. And I think we will skip AI and assessments as well. This is completely a different use case. How AI can support either the teams when preparing for an ASPICE assessment, and how AI can support the assessors when they get documents and ask questions. I think there are some people working on these use cases. Let's move this to the next webinar as well.
Okay. And then something that I wanted to share with you. Last month, I conducted a research among DXC specialists about AI actual adoption. I collected many responses. It was a survey, and I collected 240 responses. And the most interesting for us would be the current usage among different roles. So respondents' geographics was Ukraine, Germany, Bulgaria, Egypt, Poland, Italy, and other countries. So there we have 1-2 people. Experience in industry, 67% more than have more than 8 years experience in automotive. And then interesting fact, 22% of project managers, 20% of Scrum Masters, 28% of developers, 17% of test engineers use AI on a daily basis. Then 26% of project managers, 37% of Scrum Masters, 25% of developers, and 29% of test engineers use AI a few times a week. So you can see that approximately 50 to 60% of these roles use AI for their working purposes regularly, and other 40% either never use or use very seldom, like once a month. And then in the survey among automotive colleagues, we had 43 project managers, 40 Scrum Masters, 85 developers, and 76 test engineers. And tasks for which they are using AI are the following. Managers and Scrum Masters use them for the same purpose. Drafting or editing text, it could be a document or email or some sort of a text. Research, information search. So instead of Google, they're using ChatGPT or Copilot. Summarizing or organizing information, and data analysis or visualization. Developers use AI almost in the same way as test engineers, with the only difference. So these roles use AI for research or information search, code suggestions or completion. This is for developers, so they use it for looking for a piece of code, how something works. Then drafting or editing text, both roles, summarizing or organizing information, and test generation or automation. So this is these are top 4, top 5 usages. There were other categories, but they were very seldom, so these are top. This is how now developers and test engineers and managerial roles use AI in automotive projects. Nobody use it for architecture or requirements. Maybe because of contractual limitation. You know that our contracts are very strict and we cannot provide any customer data to AI.
But even with code creation, who has the copyright on this code? What if ChatGPT provides you with a code from an open source project and you don't know?
I believe that use cases were for more little pieces, like anyway, in automotive, we're not allowed to provide something that can help identify the customer or something like that. So it would be more something about, hey, how this library works, how can I formulate regular expression, how can I do this.
Line by line, not an entire algorithm. Yeah. Okay, understood. Yeah. This just came to my mind. Okay,
good.
Let's wrap up. I think one thing has become quite clear. We need a clear understanding of what we want to achieve with the traces and how it shall work and how the artifacts are connected. Otherwise, the AI will misguide us, mislead us. So this is why I wrote the 3 books by now. One is about, it's this one, The Ultimate, oh, can you see it? No. The Ultimate Guide to ASPICE, where I start from the intention of the processes. I do not repeat the base practice. I assume that you know the base practice and can read the base practice in the PAM. And then I explain how to implement these processes efficiently and effectively in daily project work. And I call these best practices. Then there's newly available the cybersecurity extension on how to implement the cybersecurity process and how to integrate them with existing ASPICE processes. How is cybersecurity requirements related to the normal requirements like software system, etc. And the last one, which is actually based on a webinar which we did, Olena and I, half a year ago, the human aspects of assessments, both sides. How does the team feel? How can the team prepare for an assessment? What are the typical pitfalls? And the assessor side, what is the time pressure and the political pressure sometimes? What does it do to the assessor? And something completely new, there's a newsletter on ASPICE now available. You can use this link to register for the ASPICE newsletter, which I will publish every 2 weeks or at least once a month. So there are books available, and do not tell about the other things like videos and interview catalogs. If you want to know anything about this, just give me a call on LinkedIn and book a meeting with me, and I can tell you more about what is available. Here's the link. I forgot to paste the link in the chat now. Here we go. Mamadou.
Yes.
And now we're exactly in Q&A, so please feel free to unmute.
Right on time.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Mamadou.
thank you all of you for this presentation. Yeah, AI, integrating AI on ASPICE, so it's really more challenging, right? So, yeah, from stakeholder requirement to software requirement, I think AI can do some things, right? But the more challenge will be from the software requirement to the architecture and detail design.
Yes.
I think there, I don't know what kind of tools can really manage or can really do this kind of work for all the detail design, implementing detail design, and also software unit and software unit verification. So it really challenging. I don't know what kind of tools can do this kind of job for the huge, if you have a huge of requirements, like 2,000 requirements.
Let me be honest with you. I've not seen most of the use cases in any of the assessments yet. I think the most promising is generating the test cases. I've not seen creating architecture yet. And I think at least one company is working on generating requirements based on stakeholder expectations or software requirements based on system requirements. So text to text, so to say. There's another question.
Has Ron provided all the information you were asking for? Or would you like to clarify something?
Again. Okay.
Yeah. I see there is one more question exactly while we were discussing the NDAs. Timur raised in the chat how to deal with NDAs and limiting the LLM models, Copilot, ChatGPT, from using private project customer data for model learning and storing it.
Olena, would you like to answer? I have answer, of course. The short answer: do not paste any requirements to ChatGPT. It's violating the NDAs, definitely. So we need a local AI running on our own servers, like Olena was mentioning, or at least in a cloud where we have control over.
Yeah, for this case, we definitely recommend to use local model. And we experimented with some of the smaller models, and they can run even on your regular laptop, but they are not capable to do something really huge. And once we tested a task, it analyzed thousands of Jira tasks and then generated a report what person did during the last year. And such a big job took it 12 hours on a regular manager's laptop. So it is still can do it for you, but much slower. If we talk about NDA, it should be definitely something with local model. And please pay attention to the model you're using. Use trusted models from trusted suppliers, like from Google, from Microsoft. Better not to use models like DeepSeek or Qwen, because they are Chinese-based and they cannot guarantee you that they will not leak to the internet. So better to trust trusted suppliers, choose trusted suppliers and experiment locally. And maybe also one point that each organization has its own governance rules, and better always to consult with your AI governance project team, and they will guide you how to make it safe in a safe way.
Okay.
Yeah, so sorry, I just want to add some things. Olena, yeah, you mentioned just do not use China's AI like DeepSeek, but maybe using a Grok. Yeah, maybe okay. What do you think about Grok, Olena?
Okay, I don't know.
Not sure. I'm not a deep expert. Yeah, now I'm in a managerial role, and my experience based on what I tried and what my developers tried, what I have discussed. So I'm not sure about that model. Just double check that they have like they are trusted. Yeah, if you can trust the provider of that model, you can use it and realize that they would keep their word and will not spoil to the internet. If you would like to experiment with something that you cannot fully rely, better to disconnect your computer from the internet and experiment in like a sandbox. But
Interesting.
not, yeah, because consequences can be unexpected.
There was another question from Boris.
From Boris, yeah. If we have time still, it could be probably the last
maybe you
one.
already answered.
Okay.
It was about asking a local installation. I found in CT a description how to install a local
Yes.
KI model on a Mac on a
Yes.
Mac computer. Did anybody have experience with that? They're very simplified ones,
Yes.
but for a limited application may be useful.
Yes, I tried this once on my laptop, but you cannot upload PDFs, etc. So you can chat with it. It understands language, but it's very, very limited. But technically, it's possible. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for the questions.
We have other questions in the chat?
No, I thought we are going to ramp up. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, I just want to highlight that please use this AI responsively and pay attention to the legal aspects, to the GDPR requirements, and don't take everything that people saying about their AI model as truth. Yeah, double check and be responsible. Thank you. Olga, we can proceed.
Totally agree with you. If you doubt, just don't do it. So, and now I'm pleased to invite you to our upcoming webinar. So it will be very exciting. Ron reacts to real-world documents. It will be in January 2026. Exact date we will be announcing later on LinkedIn. So also, as we promised during our next webinar, we will ask ChatGPT to generate a configuration management plan and review it together, the results, what will AI provide us. And we may come back to the AI use cases for the SPICE assessments. And in the session, also Ron will review the documentation you have. So please provide your live, of course, if you can share it, yeah, maybe you can black out some important information. Provide it upfront, share your insights, and in real time, Ron will provide recommendations on it.
So it's like a mini coaching or consulting. You can bring templates or anonymized documents. That's up to you, and I will give you feedback on the documents and how you can improve.
Yeah, looking forward to see you there.
We have had this idea for quite a while, for months, but now we really do it in January.
Yeah, so I have just a quick question. Sorry, I can, yeah, if you allow me, sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, so my question will be regarding the review. If you have reviewed one time, let's say the same plan, configuration management plan, and one time, okay, and all the team have approved it one time, okay, and 6 months after, do you need also the approval of all the reviewer? I don't know if you have first time 3 reviewer and the second time you have second time. Do you need all the reviewer to approve this document, or what kind of step is? Yeah, maybe you.
The short answer is the reviewers. Ciao, Daniel. The reviewers do not approve.
The second time.
No,
Okay,
that's a common misunderstanding. No, the reviewers review, they give feedback. The author approves, or maybe the sponsor of the document. That's a common misunderstanding. The reviewers do not approve any documents. The responsibility for the document is with the author only.
The process owner, yeah.
Process owner or the owner of the document, but not the reviewer. And coming back to the question, and then the number of reviewers is up to you to decide. For a first version, we have more reviewers. For the second version, depending on the changes you made to the document, maybe one reviewer may be sufficient. But let's discuss this next time. Bring the question again, and we will go into this deeper.
Yeah, thank you. Good. Thank you, good for all of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining. Have a good evening.
Yes.
Have a good evening. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Goodbye.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
See you now.